All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Wednesday, June 23rd, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back, of course, for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check on the social media side for all of us on Facebook Live, YouTube. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. I believe we are good to go across the trading room. Great to see Michael, Ray, Stefan, Bill, Sharon, Jeff, and Lynette, and all of our students and trial members alike inside our live trading room. That is so. Let's go right into it here. The ZUO trade. I say let's go right into it because we have class coming up. Allow me just to reiterate that. Rich posted the link just a moment ago. For all of our students live inside the trading room, phase 2 students at least, you have access to the class coming up ahead. We'll be talking about all-time highs and all-time lows. Coming off the morning class, we were talking about gap fills and the dead cat bounce. So actually, it's pretty interesting. I'm going to start with the ZUO here. It's pushing up pretty nicely going into the afternoon. Right away, I'll just kind of slip this on our afternoon watch list. Just nice and steady, good liquidity on the book, little thin, but good spread. But something caught my eye, and you could see on the weekly chart, not the daily chart right now, the weekly chart. I ended up slapping this trend line on there. I don't know, I was looking at the daily, and I'll go to that in a moment. And what I saw on the daily led me to the weekly, and then I just said, oh, that's a pretty interesting trend off the lows back from 2019, and I put it on. It correlated pretty nicely off the highs just over the last many weeks and months after, and here it is now. So who knows? Is this going to be the top right off the top of this trend line here, or is it going to break above the trend line, so to say? It's a relatively just quickly drawn line, so I didn't really perfect it off the lows, mind you. But let me show you what I ended up noticing on the daily chart, and that leads me back to what I was saying just before. So we ended up coming off the morning class earlier today, the phase 2 lesson 3 class at least, talking about gap fills, right? So pretty interesting. I was just going back on the ZUO chart and looking at this at least first, saying, it's breaking new highs, 52-week highs. Is it all-time highs? That's like my first thought because I'm teaching the afternoon class, just all-time highs and lows. And all right, let's see. We go back. Oh crap! I have to I have to go back. Actually, give me a quick sec. I went from weekly to daily. They set it back a number. Let me go do that, and then let me show you. Point being, long story short, back from 2019, you can see this big gap back from 19, 20 bucks all the way down. But we were talking about true gap fills. It's not necessarily from this low or this close, but it's more so from historical support before that. Let's say even like from 1880, but even just from here, and it's above this price now at this point, but back from March of 2019, this hit an absolute low of the day, 1813. So pretty interesting. We caught it like literally when it was like right at that price, and since it's of course pushed up. So we'll see if this can keep going. I would watch out for that 1880-ish price. It just seemed to have been low of the day, even the day after that big drop, roughly. I got to go back right there. Yep, 1887. And over here, 1885, 83, 88. So roughly around that price or those prices, you could find a historical resistance ahead if this keeps pushing up as nicely as it is. So, for right now, ZUO definitely will put it on our list. And with that, let's go right from top to bottom, folks. Let's see what else we got. We'll go across the gainers and losers list. I see a bunch of warrants at the top, which really I'm not really too keen on. But the equities I may be. The ENTX, of course, we'll talk about in a moment. NSPRZ, not a whole lot really happening there. Cheapy. I don't know what the news is, but all right. So ENTX, we ended up seeing this one from earlier this morning in pre-market. We talked about this during the morning class itself, talking about gap fills and how just seeing a stock coming off of good news, you would hope to see the stock make a pop and a run. And God bless, this ended up doing so. Ended up pulling back as the market opened up, but ended up re-breaking above the opening bell print. Breaking above 715 resistance, which was really strong in pre-market itself. So for what it's worth, it ended up making a really nice run from that point, but the volume died off rather quick. The selling kicked in rather fast, and from that point, I'm not going to say the same line that I always say, but you can see what happened. Stock trailed all the way down. It hasn't broken down to 6 yet. That was the level I was talking about in our class. So, I don't know. It's pretty volatile still. I mean, pretty active. I mean that in a good way. So perhaps I tag this on our watch list here for the afternoon, just at the very end. For right now, I'll kind of put it on our side. And we'll come back to it. I'm not really too particular about putting a stock that's traded 152 million shares across the day on the watch list. And I'll eat my words coming up pretty shortly as we go over the ALF, because yesterday afternoon, right at this time, right? I said I wasn't really too interested in that trade, and I was a little wrong on that. So maybe we'll come back to ENTX at the end. BLPH though, we'll keep it going though. BLPH for right now. I don't know. I guess thankfully I missed this. I don't know. I say that really honestly. Just this is a wacky stock. Ended up getting halted a few times on the way up. I don't know if it got halted on the way down, but obviously the volume died off fast. A couple of occasions there. It seems like it's still kind of holding strong, like it might make another move back up, but I'm not looking to risk it. I'll see if there's anything else looking better. I'd say the same thing about this MOXC trade. This is like Chop City here on the minute chart. So you could just see up and down, up and down. This thing looks like a really tough trade. The spread's ugly. Like, why do I need to put this on our watch list, right? Like, listen, it's near the highs of the day. That would be the one reason that you might would want to be interested in it. And this might be approaching all-time highs, actually. Let's see. Got to go back on the weekly chart. I don't know what this is all about here. If this was like from being an OTC stock, or I don't know. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip with that. But factoring that out, I would say just the real high on this was back from. I mean, this is a weekly chart again, back from late May of 2021. Hit a high of 24.36. So it's relatively close to even that. I don't know. I'll come back to it at the end. I don't need to put this on our watch list right now. The spread's crazy. The order book's just all over the place. You're just more gambling on a stock like this than anything else. So if it works out, then the payoff could be pretty nice. But it's also a $21 stock. How many shares are you going to trade at this? If it was like a $4 or $5 stock, that's something different. I could trade a couple of thousand shares of that. All right, so we'll keep it going. BEST. I was trying to catch my place there. Now this is a stock. All right, so on the total other end of the spectrum here, this BEST stock could not be looking any better. So cheap, great liquidity, tight spread, yada yada yada. I'm gonna put this on our list right away. So the thing I'm interested in, just because I'm teaching the class coming up, and it's not the case, this could just be like the beginnings of a big dead cat bounce, perhaps, for as much as this stock dropped off over the last year and a half. Perhaps this could be really the beginnings of a move back up as shorts potentially cover. So we'll find out, but definitely a great trade so far. On the way up to the high of the day, I see like a 23,000, 24,000 share seller at 178. There's going to be something else though. I mean, this is through the NYSE, so there could be other volume out there, perhaps at 175 on the ask, perhaps at 180. I don't have my level 4 up for this stock. I'll load it up, of course, coming up for our class later on today if I have the chance. But for right now, for those not joining me in class, this could be a really nice trade, at least for you. Yeesh, thank God I avoided this one. AUUD. I don't know. I mean, I was in transit going into the early afternoon. So by the time it was like 1 o'clock, 1:15, I ended up just leaving the office back to my house here in Huntington Station. That's where I'm doing the class from at least. But man, I avoided this. Thank God. So needless to be said, we're not going to put this on our watch list. But we'll keep it going. ORPH. This ended up doing us pretty nicely earlier today. This stock ended up making a really good move, right? It was pretty much right when class was beginning. So unfortunately, I did not jump in. I wish I had the chance to, but we were waiting on this move just from the last day or so, right? Back on Tuesday or back on Monday or Tuesday of this week. I keep thinking it's a day ahead from today. So from Monday or Tuesday of this week, this was like teasing us for this type of pop, and it just didn't give it to us. So, we ended up looking away, and now obviously here today, it ended up making that type of run. It's not to say that this is the only run that this can make, not to say today, but perhaps tomorrow, right away, like just seeing the stock make this type of run up, although it's dumping back down right now. Why not follow this come tomorrow morning in pre-market? At least type it in your platform, see what it's up to. If there's no volume or if it's dropping off big, then I wouldn't be following it. But it's worth a look though, no matter what. Just write it down come tomorrow morning. It's ORPH. All right, so let's see what else we got. We'll skim through. We'll stop on GMPX. For any of our new members joining CTU, any new members joining us on social media perhaps today. I always look at the stock. This was like the first stock that came out with any sort of news related to COVID vaccine or antibody testing even. This was back, right? Over here. January 21st. This was stock number 1. right after this, we ended up seeing NVAX, mRNA, and all the others, Sorrento, INO, you name them. But this was number one. I'll always look at this stock just if I see it on the gainer side. But, hey, it's at the highs today. So I like that. It's cheap. Good liquidity on the book. I like that. Little flat, though, over the last 10, 15 minutes, really just since popping there, like right after 2 o'clock. Not a whole lot really happening yet. So I'll kind of slip it on the side list for right now. It's almost like a little too inactive right now for me. We'll come back to it, though, at the end of this meeting. All right, CLSD pop from earlier. Let me zoom out on the 5-minute here. There we go. All right, so we'll keep it quick. Let's see what else we got. LEDS, pretty fast, up 13%. Former runner for us. Running again. There we go, right on time. So this one right away we'll put on our main list. This stock also, though, kind of similar to similar to a lot of these runners, the ORPH in particular from before, certainly the MOXC, really, that was the one I was thinking about. Just big order, big spread, thin order book, but obviously making a really nice run after 2 o'clock. And as I'd said before, it's been a former runner for us over the last month and a half, 2 months. So easily definitely going to, put this on our watch list. More of a level 5 stock, though. All right, TIGR, Lizzie, a couple of other familiar, former runners perhaps in the past. TIGR is at the highs of the day today. You see that on the 5-minute. Resistance off of 27, I would assume. Looks like some prints coming in off of 75 right now, but otherwise I would say major resistance off of 27 on the ask. I don't know what the level 4 looks like yet for this stock, but definitely just being a familiar runner, familiar name for us in the past, TIGR. There we go. Lizzie, Vuzi, I see here at the bottom, just a couple of other names, then we'll hop over to the loser side. Market's really flat. I mean, that's just the other thing I'm noticing here. Looking on my 5-minute chart going into the afternoon meeting this time yesterday, it was, flat, but at the highs. Today is just completely flat. So it's been slow outside of the stocks that we've been looking at this far. Lizzie is at the highs. It's trading about 1,900 to 2,000 shares per minute. That's very low. Even if it doesn't have that, filled in of an order book, it doesn't seem as if it would take that long to break through that order at, 681 or 682, maybe a few minutes there. But either way, when a stock is trading that little volume per minute, it provides little momentum, right? So clearly this stock, although it's been moving up, it's been like watching the grass grow for the most part. So I don't know. Again, another stock kind of like the GMPX will slip on the side list. We'll check back in with it perhaps at the end. Vuzi, this one trading a little bit more volume per minute, practically the same type of liquidity on the book, if not thinner. So this one I like a little bit more for right now. Also a stock we are familiar with, Vuzi. So we'll put this on the main one. I got a couple shouts from Norman and Lynette on OCGN. Let's see really quick, then I'll hop over to the loser side. Yeah, I mean, it's, I wouldn't have found it on the gainer side, right? So I appreciate the call out, right? Either way, it's up 2+% at the highs. It's a stock we are familiar with. I want to hop over to the loser side first, see if there's anything looking better, if there's anything more volatile than this. We'll come back to this at the end. Practically have as many stocks on the quote-unquote side list as I do on the main list. But, there's a lot to choose from. I want to be picky, so let's hop over to the loser's side first, see if there's anything looking better. Torch, I ended up doing pretty well on this trade from earlier today. I ended up taking a 2-cent loss at first. I was trading a couple thousand shares on the first try, and then on the second one, I ended up loading up, and I wish I could say I ended up doing even better than I did. I was in it from 488. I was in on a lot of shares. Ended up getting out at 502, if I'm not mistaken, 503. I wanted to close out at like 512 or 515. That's where I think on the 5-minute chart, I had my EMAs up. I think it was the 50 EMA right at that price. It was also the VWAP around there. That was my target. So either way, when I got out, that's when I practically left the office. I was like, all right, I'm done for the day. That was a lot of shares. It was a decent trade cent per share wise. So, that's it. I'm done. So I came back, and obviously this pushed up a lot more. So it still could be in play. One thing to note is that this stock clearly has dropped off the last 3 days. When it peaked back on Monday at like $11, ended up dropping down all the way to sub 5. So, this still could be in line for another squeeze up heading into the afternoon. Yeah, I don't know. Again, another side list stock. I'm going to come back to them all at the end. I'll do a roundup, and the ones that look the best, I'll kind of cherry pick. So far, at least from the main list, all of those rightfully so, I like a lot more. TIGR, I love. The VUZI trade, I definitely like. Speaking of mRNA, a stock I'd mentioned from earlier. Clearly, this stock has fallen out of price range, but yeah, taking a hit today. I'm not going to look up the news. We're not going to follow this for the afternoon, but see what else we got from RJF. Yeah, let's go back to ALF. I ate my words on that one from yesterday, right? So from this time yesterday, I was saying, hey, for a stock trading, however many shares it was trading, I don't really expect for it to make, another big move up. Now, provided that was at, well, right here. So, maybe if this thing made this type of pop, I'll show you here coming up. If this thing started to explode up when I was finishing up the meeting, I would have put it on our main list. I was saying to all of us on social media that, hey, if it made that move, we would call it out live inside our trading room. I know that Rich did mainly, and he was on top of that alongside myself. So this ended up making for a great trade. We ended up capitalizing on this stock as it broke over 14. So great. Ended up pushing up to break an all-time high. And that's all I'll say on that, really. So for all of our phase 2 students that are joining me in class, I will continue from where I leave off on the stock here. In terms of the analysis, we'll cover this move. We'll show the level 4 and everything else in between as far as what happens when this stock broke its all-time high. Now, nonetheless, for today, dropped off quite a bit, made the big pullback that I was expecting from yesterday afternoon. Popped up pretty freakishly here, pretty suddenly, right? I don't know if news came out or what, but obviously the market not liking it, dropping right back down. So, yeah, I don't know. For the afternoon, I'm not really too interested in this one now. If I was wrong yesterday, I'm more likely to be right today. So just trust me on that. But yeah, obviously pop from before. If you were able to catch it from earlier on, then great. But otherwise, now this thing's like a dart on the way down to 12 again. All right, from Doug on YouTube. Welcome back, Doug. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. VIAC, look at that pop. Nice. All right, let's see what else we got. I'm going to just look at the news. That's what I mean by that. Going to take a look on Benzinga Pro just because, obviously, given this pop right now, I want to see what's going on. And lo and behold, no headline. Damn. At least not yet. There's got to be something on this stock to see it pop over $1. I don't know if it's unusual options activity or what, but we'll post it here coming up pretty shortly. At least I appreciate that, Doug. All right, cool. Let's see. I got a new high of the day alert on something here, folks, and it's a stock on the side list. So, you know what? Let's do a little contest. We'll kind of see what looks the best here from the side list. We'll promote it to the main list. And it's hard to say this shouldn't be on the list, right? This MOXC, right? Ended up just making a new high of the day right now. This was the stock I was saying to watch out for in terms of the order book, the spread. If even right now, this could be still a false breakout and it could dump right back down shortly afterwards. But for right now, I'll definitely put this on the main. Let's see what else we got. See the ENTX again, the GMPX, Lizzie, OCGN, etc. Yeah, this isn't going anywhere right now. I'll pass on this. GMPX, as much as I would want to put this on our list, it doesn't seem like it's going to be going anywhere just yet. So I don't know. I don't really feel a need to put this on just yet. Lizzie, I feel like this is gaining a little bit more steam now. It's trading about 2,100 shares per minute. That's the average, at least. There's your order at 7, 15,000 share iceberg. You know what? I'll put this on our main list. We at least are familiar with this stock, Lizzie. It's not like some stock that we've never, traded before or never heard of. And you'd assume the same to be said on OCGN then, right? But this isn't up as much percentage-wise. It ended up just pulling right back down. So the hope, of course, is to see this just burst out higher. And if so, great. If so, I'm sure that Rich will call it out. That's it. But For all of us on YouTube, how about this RJF Doug? I see from one of us here. The picture is really blurry. Is it blurry for you folks there? Let me know. From Doug and RJF and all of us on YouTube at least right now. Those are the ones chatting. But let me know if the screen's blurry. I got to fix that if so. All right, so for right now, I'm going to keep this off our main list, the OCGN, but I love this stock more than anything. It goes to show I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. Doug says it looks all right for him. Looks good for RJF. Good. All right, cool. No problem with that. All right, Torch, last one, and we'll wrap it up. Last one from our side list, so to say. Yeah, not really seeing much on this stock now at this point. It pulled back down to 5, so perhaps if this really is the slingshot, that would be the dream to see this pop back up to 560-ish perhaps. That was holding well as pre-market lows going into the market open today. But otherwise, again, we don't really need to put this on our list just yet. Wish popped, says Kathleen, at the buzzer. How about that? It's 2:50 Eastern time. We got about 15 minutes until our class begins. I'll tell you, I liked Wish over the last week. I've done better on it than I've done work. You know what I mean? I've done all right on the stock across the last 2 weeks. The last 2 to 3 days, this stock has been the absolute worst. It's been so choppy. And right when I think it's going to make its big move, it doesn't. Right when I don't think it's going to make a move at all, it makes the big move I thought it was going to make. So trust me, I go through the same trials and tribulations that every one of us in Cyber Group does on other stocks that you folks go through. I go through it on Wish. So, it's moving up right now, but again, I don't know. I just, it's a good move right now. If you're in the trade from 1335, 1340, you're doing pretty good so far, of course. But yeah, I'll pass on this for right now. If this ends up making a historic run without me while I'm in class, that I will be pretty pissed about. But I know that most of us will be joining us coming up pretty shortly. There's always going to be another trade, always another day. I know that. I'm just kind of, talking out loud there. But nonetheless, for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every afternoon, as always. Make sure to like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, specifically at youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, feel free to join us live inside our trading room Monday to Friday. Go right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started. For all of us there, Kathleen, Michael, Norman, Donald, Lynette included. I look forward to seeing you folks coming up pretty shortly in class. Take care.